We can talk about today's topic, which is pain.
Yeah.
Listen, they equip me with all the facts that I need. I didn't realize that 100 million Americans experience some type of chronic pain, but that number surpasses everyone with diabetes, heart disease, and cancer combined.
Yeah.
So what is pain?
Really, what pain is actually your body telling you something's wrong.
Oh, that's true.
I mean, that is
Very
really
true.
what pain is your body is telling you something's wrong. And people's bodies respond differently, and people have different degrees of, that's why I said it's subjective. Because you can have two people with the exact same pain, and one person may say, it's barely anything. And another person says, I can't even go on. So people's bodies respond differently to pain, and it matters. A lot of stuff matters on how they respond. Your brain chemistry is a big part of it. If the serotonin's low, then you tend to actually have more pain. So it depends too on the brain's chemicals and how your pain receptors are.
I'm not sure that I like any kind of pain.
No, nobody does.
No, I don't think anybody does. I don't think anybody likes it.
I don't think anybody likes it. No.
Acute, chronic, for me, it's all the same. And now listen, there are ways. You have your naproxens and your acetaminophen and your ibuprofens, but there are other ways to deal with pain?
Oh yeah, we're going to talk about the natural ways to deal with pain. Because, with any medications, you have side effects. And so that's one of the things that we have people, of course, every day, all we hear about is pain. Whether it is headaches, or whether it is stomach pain, or whether it is joint pain, or muscle pain, or, if you start looking, there's all of it's pain. So what is it that you need to know? I mean, so when people come in with pain, we start asking a lot of questions. Asking enough questions, you might figure out where it's coming from. The worst pain is when they don't know where it's coming from. I mean, if somebody has a headache and they know it's from a headache and they've ruled out all the brain tumors and all kind of bad stuff it can be, then of course they know it's headaches. But when people come in with these chronic pains that you don't know what they are, because we do see that a lot. They've been to multiple doctors, they've been to multiple places, and they have no idea where it's coming from.
Especially when you seem and you feel like nothing has changed, right? So my entire life I've been just fine, but now all of a sudden, after I eat, maybe I get a headache. And why is that now a problem when it wasn't before?
Right. And that really, what you eat, and we're going to talk about that too.
Yeah.
What you eat does make a difference. And people, there's no doubt, as you age, you don't handle things quite as well. I mean, there's no doubt. Because as a kid, kids can be sick and run around and act crazy and still play and do all that, where an adult, when they get sick, can't hardly get up. So it does make a difference as we age. It does make it harder to handle the pain. And like I said, depending on the person, how much pain do they feel?
Yeah, it's. I think it's, like I say, it's subjective. So and a lot of people don't understand that subjective objective thing. Objective things are like, okay, if you're bleeding, well, it's pretty objective. We can see that. But when you tell me something hurts, I really can't see, is there a red light or something? Now, I mean, if something's swollen, if a joint's swollen or something like that, and it's red and inflamed, yeah, we can see that. But most of the time, it's not. And so we're having to take the person's word for it. Like, okay, and then their description, they always ask you, if you're a doc, they'll always ask, on a scale of 0 to 10, where are you? Where's that pain? Is it 3, 4, 7, 8, wherever it is? And that way the person can relate to them how bad it really hurts. And a lot of times it can hurt really, really bad.
Yeah, you can have all kind of pain. And actually most pain comes from inflammation.
Oh, all pain starts with and the inflammatory response is where the pain's going to start. I mean, you have to have inflammation. I mean, that's part of it. Even if it's the GI problems, like for instance, you mentioned, okay, if I eat something, I wind up with a headache. It's an inflammatory response. There's some food, and we do a lot of things with people with food sensitivities, food allergies, creates all kinds of problems. Not only does it create headaches, those food allergies and food sensitivities can actually create a lot of other problems too, like joint pain even.
Yeah, joint pain's a big one.
That's a biggie actually.
There's no doubt. A lot of people say, when I eat this, my joints start hurting. I'm like, okay, that's definitely a response. Definitely even if it's not a true food allergy, it's a sensitivity.
Right.
And if you have a sensitivity or a true food allergy, it's going to make symptoms. And pain is usually associated with it, whether it's a headache, a stomach ache, or joint pain. So there's no doubt, pain is, I think everybody has experienced it at one time.
And it also could have a lot to do with lifestyle.
Yep.
Right.
And pain has a reason. There are this really small fraction of people that don't feel pain. And they have a lot of problems. That is a horrible, it really is, because they hurt themselves so much because there's nothing to tell them to stop doing it.
Like they get burned easy.
You see, that is actually, people would say, oh, I'd love to never have any pain. But those people have a lot of problems because it is your body telling you to stop.
Pump the brakes.
Yeah, pump the brakes.
So there is a reason for pain, but you want to be able to do something for that pain and not hurt all the time.
Right. It's that chronic pain, and kind of an interesting statistic on that. The majority of people that have chronic pain, and I think they did a study back in 2019 or something like that, and then I think something like 80 or 90% of them still had the chronic pain a year later. So the pain is like is this forever? Well, it can be, unfortunately. That's the downside to it. It can be a very long-term kind of thing. It really can.
Yep, and nobody wants pain long-term.
No.
And that's what we see, day in, day out. I mean, you fall and break your arm, you know what the pain's coming from. That's not the people we see the most of. We do see the more chronic pain.
Right.
People know usually if something has an accident or something happens and there's acute pain, you know what it's coming from. And if you break your arm, you definitely need to go to the emergency room. So they usually don't come to get some supplements at that point.
That's right. We'll have a lot more of your questions when we come back talking about pain on Doctor's Nutrition. Welcome back to Doctor's Nutrition. So doctors, tell me, if someone comes in and says, I have pain, what is really the first thing you tell them?
Well, we start asking a lot of questions. When did it start? Is there anything you can tie it to? For instance, is there something that you do, a certain movement that you make, certain food that you eat, or anything like that sets it off? That's going to be a key, because that's kind of telling us a little bit about where it might be coming from.
Right.
That's the key.
And we always suggest doing lab work. If they don't know where it's coming from, it hadn't been found out yet what it is, then we do have a panel called the pain panel. And the pain panel looks for a lot of different things. It looks for some of the nutrient deficiencies that can cause pain, because like a B12 deficiency, a folate deficiency, which we do see a lot, can cause neuropathies. And so that's one of the things that we see a lot. So we do that. Vitamin D deficiency makes you hurt all over. I mean, so that's one of the things that it does really make you hurt everywhere. And when people take D, they're like, I can't believe my pain is so much better. So that's another thing that's on the panel. Magnesium deficiency, because when magnesium is deficient, your muscles hurt everywhere.
Well.
And then of course it checks like liver problems, because if you have a severe liver problem, you're gonna have pain where the liver is. So it's gonna check things like that. But then it goes a little step farther and checks the inflammation markers. Do you have systemic inflammation?
Right.
Now you can have localized inflammation and it does not show up on lab work. But when you have systemic inflammation where it's a disease process, it will usually show up on lab work. And we do the SED rate and the C-reactive protein for that. Then it checks like your autoimmune diseases, because all your autoimmune, they know that makes a lot of pain, whether it's lupus or rheumatoid arthritis or things like that. So it's going to check those markers. So it's going to be an overall look at what's possibly causing your pain.
Yeah, one of the things that's on there too is, and we kind of overlooked it there, but it's uric acid.
Oh yeah.
And and last week, 2 different people called in about pain. Pain is the biggest problem, and just so happened that it was in the foot or the foot area. And I said, okay, have you been checked for gout? Oh, no, but it's all in my family.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we might want to do that. That is part of that pain panel.
It is.
Because we see so many people with a high uric acid. And it's one of those things that's, it's not really obvious sometimes when it's in its early stages. And even when it's starting to develop that pain, may not be quite as obvious as it is.
And we've
some
had
people would think.
a few people that don't show up as your typical gout patients. They actually have pain everywhere, but not one area that's just swollen and red and obvious. And when you check the uric acid, it's sky high. It's like, here's the problem. So you kind of know by looking at the uric acid. It also does a CK, which is muscle breakdown. If you're breaking down too much muscle, which we see a lot, even people over-exercising. And you don't think about that, but you're doing something that's good for you, but yet you're causing too much muscle to be broken down that you can't repair, so then the CK will be elevated.
It's called going too hard.
Yeah, going too hard. And we see
and
it. We especially see it in the people that have not worked out in 10 years, and they go full force.
That maybe used to.
Yes, and they go full force.
Yeah.
They don't start out slow.
No.
They go all out.
January, February
we
is
see
always a biggie for that one because, New Year's resolution, my God, I'm going to the gym,
Yep.
Yeah, and they get back in the gym and then about a week or so later they come crawling in and they're, they're hurting and say, oh my God, it's just not getting any better.
And it makes people quit. It
Yeah.
makes people stop exercising to where you really don't need to do that. You need to take some stuff to help repair the muscle and go a little slower.
Right.
Well, and that sounds to me like some pain you can work through.
Right.
When we're talking about, getting back to the chronic pain side of it, that sounds like it is a precursor telling you, pause, there's something wrong,
Yep.
get checked out, because then what happens if you ignore chronic pain? Then you're setting yourself up for further issues down the road.
Oh, definitely.
Typically, there's going to be something really nasty happen sooner or later.
And the problem
That's
is
the problem.
with a lot of the chronic pain, you end up getting depression and anxiety and
Right.
even suicide. I mean, they know that is one
Right.
of the reasons a lot of people commit suicide is pain, because they don't want to get out of this pain. And of course, back pain is one of your big chronic pains. I mean, that really is a problem in a lot of people, is back pain.
Truly is.
Yep.
And that could be diet. It could even be the bed you're sleeping on.
Yeah, the bed you're sleeping on
yeah,
plays
bed's
a
a biggie.
huge role.
Yeah.
I even myself had a chronic hip pain that I could not make go away no matter what I did. I mean, I got adjusted, I took supplements, I did everything, and I was finally like, something is causing this hip pain. And I told him, let's get a new bed. He said, we just got one. I said, I don't care. But that's when it started. Actually, when you think back, he was like, but I just spent $5,000 on this bed. I was like, I don't care. So I got a different bed, was gone within 2 weeks. So it does make a difference what bed you lay on
It does.
when it comes to chronic back pain.
That and the sofa you sit on,
Oh, yeah.
We've got a collection of those too.
We do.
We really do.
I'm not good with furniture. If I get something and it does not work for me, I get rid of it.
Yeah.
And so because it's not worth having pain.
I had a situation where there
Yeah.
was a couch that there was the really pretty pillows that went
Yeah.
high, but the back of the couch didn't go high enough.
Right.
And that caused lower back pain, and you just don't think about things that it looks pretty.
See, my couch is neck pain. If I don't have the perfect couch, it is my neck that suffers. And then I get headaches. So it's like, okay, I can't do that. So I honestly have a collection. We have couches in every room.
Yes.
Because our old ones, and we have the oldest one we have in the living room because it's the one I like.
It's perfect. We have a call. We have a question here. It says, in dealing with neuropathy pain, does it ever go away, and what can you take for it? Okay.
Okay.
Well, depending on what's causing it, I mean, because when you look at neuropathy, okay, it could be something like, she mentioned earlier the B12 deficiencies. That can actually cause a neuropathy. So B vitamin deficiencies can do it. You can also be secondary to something like diabetes, okay, which a lot of people don't realize that they've even got. We check people all the time, and I'll look at their lab work and say, okay, when did they diagnose you with diabetes? Oh, I'm not diabetic.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, you really are. Oh, well, I had no idea. When was the last time you went to the doctor? Well, about 10 years ago. Okay. Something's developed in that 10 years. So that can cause it. So it could be something like that. And it doesn't even have to be completely full-blown diabetes.
Right. It can be pre-diabetes and you can
Right.
have neuropathy.
Right.
But neuropathy, I mean, we do have a lot of really good stuff for neuropathy. We have
yeah.
something called Innocin that actually helps with nerve pain. And then we have something called NeuroRenew
Right.
that actually helps with, it has the B12 and folate, so if you have a deficiency, it helps it. And then it has stuff to heal the nerves, because
Right.
with neuropathy, it's basically damage to the nerve. So nerves do not heal quickly. So it is not an instant when it comes to neuropathy, but you can't help it. Now, whether you, like I said, it's supplements, and if it is coming from diabetes, you have to control your blood sugar. If you don't control your blood sugar, it's never going to get better. So that's why I say it could be forever, but we have a lot of people we help with neuropathy. And if it's from low back problems, which it can be, then actually getting adjusted and going to a chiropractor does help. So there are things that you can do for that. But like I said, we have a lot of stuff for different types of pain. We have one supplement called SPM, amazing for pain. It is actually, it's not been out, but maybe 5, 6, 7 years, maybe.
Yeah, 5 or 6 years.
I mean, it's been a
like that.
while, but all the research came from pain clinics. So every bit of it came from pain clinics, and it is great for helping inflammation.
Yeah.
All right. We've got a couple more questions. We'll get to them when we come back. Welcome back to Doctor's Nutrition. Now, for some folks out there who want less of, I guess, a medicinal approach to pain, are there any other supplements that can help?
There are. There's one that, matter of fact, I take it myself. It's called Phyto 4. It's got Phyto's plant, and 4, that's how many ingredients it's got. It's got 4 different ingredients in it. And it really does a job on pain. I mean, I'd have to admit, because a couple of times, I said, well, I'm gonna stop. I don't think it's really working. Oh yeah, it worked. So I realized real quick that this stuff really does work.
We've had a lot of people that we've helped get, that's one that was getting off of narcotics, and they can actually, Vito 4 does help. So it is actually a really good product for pain. And you can take it as needed. It's one that you don't have to take. A lot of supplements you have to take day in, day out to get benefit from them. Like the SPM that I mentioned, it is cumulative. So you do have to take it regularly in order to get help from it. But there's and then from the Phyto 4, we have the stuff in it like the curcumin and boswellia and ginger. We have it all separate as well. So we have it separate if somebody can't take one of the ingredients. Like I said, pain, we have stuff for headaches. We have something called Migranol, works really good for headaches. So there's a lot of different things out there we have for pain, and of course stomach pain, there's all kind of stuff depending on what's going on. So there is usually a natural alternative. And even CBD, CBD does help pain. So we have a lot of different things. So if you have a problem, you can come in, and that's what we're there for, is to help you figure out what might be best for you. Yeah,
that's the key.
All right, we have another question here. One of our viewers called in and said that she has muscle cramps in her legs and hands when she sleeps. She takes 250 milligrams of magnesium, but it doesn't work anymore. What else can she take?
One of the first things I would tell her to do is check and see where her status on her sodium is. We have so many people nowadays, because salt and sodium has been taboo for so long, that we got people that have low sodium. And I know I'm one that my sodium will go low, I'll start cramping. And I have a lot of people that way. We have quite a few. So that's the first thing you do. From there, then there's other things that you can try.
Potassium is another one, but you don't want to take a lot of potassium without checking it. So doing lab work to see which minerals, and on that pain panel I mentioned, it does check magnesium, it checks potassium, it checks sodium, it checks all your electrolytes. And that way, because electrolytes do make a difference. So, that's what I would say is check your electrolytes. And sometimes magnesium at first may have helped because you had none and you got a little bit and it helped. But sometimes once the body gets used to that, it wants more if it still isn't high enough. So that's why you check it to see where you are.
And 250 is not a big dose.
Because 250 is not an extreme dose.
Not a big dose.
So you can go higher on magnesium.
So it sounds like the moral is don't be hard-headed, right? If you have some pain, definitely reach out to Dr. Jim and Janine at Doctor's Nutrition and help figure it. Could be something as easy as a new supplement that you need to add to your regimen, and everything's done. Could be that easy.
Could be that easy.
Could that be? Yeah. I mean, people don't realize, like I said, the D deficiency. We see that every day where people cannot believe how much it helped their pain. I mean, they cannot believe, how could I hurt this bad? And it was just that I didn't have enough vitamin D. And that is a pain that goes everywhere. Do you know what I mean? And fibromyalgia, everybody's heard of that, and that is kind of your chronic pain everywhere. We do have a lot of stuff we use for fibromyalgia that may be different than other pain. A lot of times we will use things that are antiviral because a lot of fibromyalgia has been linked with chronic viruses. So it depends on what it is.
And there's definitely an emotional and mental health side of making sure that you stay out of pain. You can literally eliminate a lot of those issues just by addressing pain.
Yes,
Oh yeah.
And when it comes to what else can you do for pain? Eat better.
How many times have we said that?
Eat better, because again, that's another thing that we hear from people when they go eat clean, which eating clean does mean take out the packaged processed food, take out the junk, take out the sugar, take out all the stuff you really shouldn't be eating. And I tell people to eliminate, if you're hurting everywhere and you don't know what it is, cut out gluten and cut out dairy. They're two high allergens. And we do have food allergy testing as well. But change your diet. That makes a difference. It makes a huge difference.
It really can.
So we've got another one that for one of our viewers, hikes quite a bit. For hiking a long time, what would you recommend for leg and feet pain, and what would you recommend for strengthening bones?
Okay.
Well, the back to the hiking thing for just a second. Probably the best thing for hiking, make darn sure you got some good shoes. I mean, that is the number one thing, because it's amazing sometimes how people really won't go the distance as far as getting a decent pair of shoes. And there's stores out there that's what they do. They give you, make sure that you get the right shoe for whatever you're doing.
Yep.
So that's the first thing.
We also have something called diavasc, which strengthens the vessels in the legs.
Right.
We have a lot of people that stand on their feet all day, and
Right.
kind of hiking would be kind of like that, and say it makes a big difference in the pain as well. So the diavasc. And strengthening the bones, we have something called ostenol. Great. It stimulates bone growth.
Yep.
And we have something called Osteo Essentials that gives you all the nutrients needed for strong bones.
Right.
So, like I said, there's definitely things you can do for all those problems.
Right.
And that's something you can get if you know that osteoporosis exists in your family. You haven't been diagnosed yet, but you can get ahead of the curve.
Yeah,
Oh, boy,
exactly.
definitely. I'm Dr. Fox, and I want to thank you for watching this YouTube video. Be sure and hit that subscribe button, hit that little bell so you'll be notified on any upcoming videos that we have coming up. And thank you again for watching our YouTube videos.